Ah, yes, the future. But what does it hold for everyone? When I imagine the future, I think of a place where people take care of each other, where the planet is safe from destruction of the human race, a place powered by a clean energy that is available to everyone. Now, this place may sound like a work of science fiction, but due to hydrofuel, this energy has the potential to change the globe as we know it. How every society throughout the entire planet functions as a whole. When I say hydrogen fuel sources, what do I mean? Do I mean I could just park a car outside, come in and fill a glass of water and pour that water where gasoline once did go? Not exactly. When I'm talking about hydrogen fuel, I'm talking about hydrogen fuel cells. Not a liquid alternative to gasoline, but a power box. It's a box like this, full of hydrogen, and it uses that hydrogen to create energy. Now, these things aren't just for cars. They could power homes, they could power airplanes, they could power whatever need be. But let me explain the science. To do that, my friend Gupta will help. See, hydrogen fuel cells act a lot like batteries. They have an anode and a cathode. It feeds the hydrogen from the cell into the anode and takes oxygen from around the area into the cathode. And in a chemical reaction, creates three byproducts: heat, water vapor, and energy. Now, everything creates heat, but these two are the important part. The energy that creates is much more efficient and powerful than anything any fossil fuel has to offer. You see, fossil fuels take a lot of energy, and to fill up a car, you need liters, 50 liters of gas. Meanwhile, all it takes is a renewable energy source like this cell. It takes a lot less material to provide the same amount of energy, and it's much more eco-friendly, made completely or mostly out of recyclable materials. Now, that's not what makes it revolutionary. We have a lot of energy sources that are more efficient than gasoline. But what we don't have is an energy source that's harmless to the environment. These battery packs produce nothing but water vapor. So instead of cars and airplanes spewing millions of tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere every year, we'll have these hydrogen fuel cells spewing nothing but water vapor. A highway would smell just as fresh as Downy fabric softener. Now that you understand the science behind what makes this fuel cell so revolutionary and how it protects the environment, I'm going to talk to you about some of the benefits. Aid in your understanding of how these cells work, I'm going to show you a much clearer diagram. This diagram shows how hydrogen is sucked into the anode and oxygen is sucked into the cathode. What happens here is that a catalyst then splits the hydrogen into protons and electrons. These electrons then go around the circuit in the electron flow and produce the energy that is required from the cell. Now, as you can see in the diagram, this creates an output of water vapor, energy, and although it doesn't say it, it also produces an output of heat. Some of the equations that are necessary for something like this to work are circuit equations, and more specifically, the equations of power and efficiency. Power being work over time elapsed, and efficiency being the work out over work in, or any of these. Now that I've explained to you how these cells work by taking hydrogen and oxygen into an anode and a cathode, using a catalyst to split the hydrogen into protons and electrons, and using those electrons to generate the energy that we so covet, me and my well-dressed friend here are going to explain to you all the benefits that these cells have. For starters, we're going to compare it to gas. Now, gas runs the world. It powers all our planes, powers all our cars, but what if I told you that these cells are 2 times better than any gas? For a kilogram worth of these hydrogen cells creates 33.6 kilowatts of energy per hour compared to 14 kilowatts of energy per hour created by the same amount of gas. That is 2 times as much energy created, being twice as efficient, twice as powerful as any gasoline could ever hope to be. Not only that, it beats any battery vehicle on the road. For example, say there are 2 trucks. Both travel 800 kilometers. One is electric, one is powered by these cells. The one powered by these cells will be able to pull a truck that weighs 2 tons more. That's a lot. Now, finally, the thing that makes this so revolutionary, I covered it a bit, I'm going to go a bit more in depth now, is how it affects the environment. If we implement these and completely replace any other kind of energy source, from 2021 to 2050, we will reduce our carbon emissions created by just cars, not even airplanes, just cars, by 6%. And that's not even where these batteries are limited. These cells can power houses, they can power airplanes. They have such a wide range of ability to power anything you want. So, in reality, the carbon emission would decrease even more. Now, if that wasn't enough to sell you, I got one more punchline, the price. Now, currently, these things cost about 2 times more. They're 4 times as efficient, or 2 times as efficient, but they cost twice the amount, so same thing. But these things are still just being created. They're still just being brought in production. Few more years of research, without a doubt, they will become more cost efficient than any of these other energy sources. Now, I'm going to move on to how they would change society as a whole. Society. The foundation for how everyone lives their lives. But what is the foundation of society? Well, I'd argue that one of the core building blocks of society is energy. As you can see behind me, everything requires energy. The buses, the cars, the TTC, even the city skyline requires energy to function properly. So inherently, if you change the kind of energy things use, you're going to change the things that use the energy. But how would things change if we implement these hydrogen fuel cells? Well, by implementing this technology, you eliminate Toronto's carbon footprint. Toronto outputs 14 megatons of carbon into the atmosphere every year. Well, these fuel cells are a viable, affordable, and clean alternative to the energy that Toronto uses, resulting in cleaner air for the people to breathe, air that is currently being poisoned and harming the health of its citizens, as well as not damaging the planet. But that's not the only way that this technology will revolutionize the world. It would also change the political and power dynamic of the globe. Oil companies will go belly up. You will never once again hear about an oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico because there would be no need. The powerful and corrupt elites that intentionally jack the prices of gas all around the world would go out of power because they'd be replaced by this new energy source. That is not it. The whole reason that this energy source is such a revolutionary technology is the way it affects the lives of the lower and middle class people of the world. You see, because of these jacked gas prices, people can't heat their homes during the winter. People can't even drive to work because the gas has gotten too expensive.
Some broke dude just put $1.68 $1.68 in his tank, man. He's so broke. Yeah, right.
This would create a much better environment for lower and middle class people to afford their daily lives. With inflation going through the roof, they need every dollar they can save. And this would provide it with a cheap and alternatively better fuel source for their cars, for their homes, for everything. This technology would essentially not only change the way society works and powers itself, but it would actively affect the lives of its citizens, making lives easier and more affordable for people so they can do the things they enjoy instead of having to worry, working a dangerous job to afford their lives. In conclusion, this groundbreaking technology of hydrogen fuel cells have the ability to completely change the way society views energy. Society is powered by energy, and although still being developed, this technology has the potential to not only solve the climate crisis, but provide clean energy to the entire world at affordable prices. By using the physics concepts of energy and power, I believe that this technology will one day become the foundation and the main source of how the world works. Goodbye.